Should you visit Trinidad and Tobago given the crime situation and the problems that Trinidad and Tobago is having right now? That's what we're going to explore in this video. So Trinidad has had, I think, 6 states of emergencies since it's been an independent country. Trinidad became an independent country in 1962 or something like that. One of those states of emergencies was because, I don't want to say anything that would get me in trouble, but a group of individuals with a certain religious orientation decided to overthrow the government. And that was like the only time that has ever happened in the entire Americas, okay? So Trinidad has a history of violence. When I did some research into crimes against tourists in Trinidad, obviously some alarming things came up, right? There have been kidnappings, there have been robberies, there have been assaults of all kinds, but it's not anything that is spectacular or exceptional as opposed to other Caribbean islands that have crime situations. Right now, I think in the Dominican Republic, I haven't researched it extensively, but I think they now are having a problem with crime. And recently, there was an increase in the United States travel advisory against Trinidad and Tobago, but there was an increase in the travel advisory against many countries around the world, right? Trinidad does have, I think it's like right now, 2 states of emergencies in the past 2 years, right? Right now, Trinidad is in a state of emergency. So the threat is there. That does not mean that, you as a tourist are likely to be targeted by crime. I think hundreds of tourists visit Trinidad every single year. I think last year, I'm not sure, I think the statistic was somewhere around 300,000 tourists visited Trinidad last year. Number of crimes against tourists were very, very minute compared to that number. If you're thinking of coming to Trinidad and Tobago, you definitely should keep that in mind, but I don't think that should be something that prevents you from coming here, because most likely you're going to be safe. Now, there are other problems with visiting Trinidad and Tobago. Aside from the crime situation, a lot of people are generally complaining about the fact of, customer service in Trinidad and maybe the attitude that you get from some of the locals in Trinidad, right? People complain about that. And I'm saying that because there are quite a number of forums on Reddit and Quora and probably many other places where there are large numbers of comments. You could go look them up, where people are complaining about this kind of stuff. Customer service in Trinidad is in no way comparable to other Caribbean islands, especially other Caribbean islands where tourism is a significant part of the industry there. They complain about this quite a lot online. Now, you do have the counter complaints with people, stating that, I visited Trinidad, I did not experience these problems, the people were wonderful, I had a great time. Yes, this happens, but there is a large number of people that have been complaining about this, and it's something you need to consider. So what are Trinidad's strengths? Despite the crime, despite the alleged, the lack of a built-up tourism industry that's specifically catered to tourists in a special way, Trinidad has something no other Caribbean island that I could think about at the top of my head, and I have researched this a little bit, can offer. The landmass of Trinidad and Tobago itself separated from the South American continent not more than 7 million years ago, which in geological time is not that long. It means that the terrain and the fauna and everything in Trinidad it's like an amalgamation. It's like a combination of a Caribbean island with attributes or things you would find like in the Amazon rainforest, which makes Trinidad ecologically a very interesting place. You find a lot of stuff here, basically, you won't find anywhere else in the Caribbean. You have the pitch lakes, the largest pitch lake in the world right here in Trinidad. I don't know who is going on vacation to watch a pool of pitch, but it is interesting. There are people into that kind of stuff. You also have a lot of mud volcanoes. You're not going to get mud volcanoes anywhere else in the Caribbean, to my knowledge, right? You might get it in South America. You might have to go to Colombia. But if you could get that in combination with the unique sort of beach, vibes experience you could get on a Caribbean island, that's something Trinidad has going for it. That's a reason to come to Trinidad. Leatherback turtles. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are leatherback turtles all over the place. The BBC has come to Trinidad to shoot entire documentaries up on those North Coast beaches about leatherback turtles, because Trinidad and Tobago, from my understanding, is one of the top places in the world for leatherback turtles to come and nest and lay their eggs, because there's so many things in the environment on the beaches that are just perfectly set up for these creatures. Everything from the amount of lakes that there are, freshwater lakes and swamps that drain into the ocean, creating the perfect equilibrium between salt water and fresh water that is perfect for these turtles. The sort of life, the sort of what do you call it? The animals and stuff, the nature and fauna that you would find that are perfect for these animals. Even the slope of the beach, I've heard, and the types of sand, is perfect. If you really want the full Amazon experience, you probably want to go to the Amazon rainforest. But all I'm saying is, Trinidad and Tobago for a Caribbean island, if you're looking for a Caribbean island destination where you can also get a lot of nature stuff to look at, Trinidad and Tobago is definitely something you should think about. Another positive I can think about when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago is the fact that Trinidad and Tobago is a very industrial island, which might not, it might not first come to your mind that would be a positive when it comes to vacationing, right? But the thing is, there are a lot of conveniences. I remember growing up in Trinidad, it used to be something you could brag about, especially when you went away. You could brag about it because you are from a Caribbean island, but you're not poor. That was the thing. Trinidad was rich, right? Even the poor people, the standard of living was a bit more because, again, oil and natural gas, okay? So when you come to Trinidad, you can expect McDonald's, you can expect your Popeyes, you can expect your Church's Chicken, you can expect, your not Walmart, they got Price Mart, but you have to come here. There are lots of things that you would think you would not be able to get on a small Caribbean island that you get, pretty easily on Trinidad, because obviously all of these franchises and all of these companies, they want to take advantage of the fact that there's a lot of money floating around in Trinidad. So that's one huge positive I think I've noticed about Trinidad. So should you come to Trinidad? Well, it depends on what you're looking for. The premise of this video really is, should you bypass all the other Caribbean islands to come to Trinidad if you want a Caribbean vacation? I think not. I don't think it's worth it to bypass Anguilla. Like, if you want the traditional Caribbean vacation, like a quiet beach, with white sand and stuff like that, you're not really going to get that in Trinidad. Don't get me wrong. Trinidad beaches are beautiful, but you won't get the white, you won't get that screensaver that you have on your laptop or your phone of the perfect white beach with the blue water that you can see right through. You might get it a little bit in Tobago, but you're not going to get it the way you'd get it on other Caribbean islands. But you do get, for example, the nylon pool. That is a unique phenomenon. Again, a natural phenomenon. You only get that in Trinidad. You don't get that anywhere else. It's like a mile away from the shore. Right, it's a mile away from the beach itself, from the coast of Tobago, but it's a sandbank. So you would be a mile out in the ocean, and you could just jump off the boat and walk around like if you're 5 feet from the shore. I mean, not everyone is going to be into that, but it is a very unique. I think it was named Nylon Pool by Princess Margaret or something, one of those princesses, and she came there I think for her honeymoon. And she called it Nylon Pool after her socks because it was clear like her stocking or something like that. Whatever the case is, I've been there multiple times. It's incredibly amazing. I'm tired of going there, actually. But you who have never maybe experienced something particularly like that, that might interest you. So there are reasons to come to Trinidad. But again, I think if you're looking for, especially if your budget isn't extensive, you can't visit every single place. I wouldn't say that I would recommend bypassing all the other Caribbean islands that are geared towards tourism to come to Trinidad. But definitely Trinidad is somewhere where it has amazing stuff to offer. All right, folks, so subscribe to Mr. Fiesta 24/7 on YouTube. I'll be popping up in other places as soon as this channel gets monetized, okay? I make videos right now about things that I'm interested in: travel, leisure, fun. I like UFOs. I like beautiful architecture, beautiful things. I like all sorts of things. Futurism and technology. That's something I'm interested in as well. I'll be making videos about that. And right now, I'm building a low-budget, tiny DIY house, whatever you want to call it. I've just started that journey. I plan to build this house in 3 months on a shoestring budget, basically no budget. There's just one or two things I've always wanted to try. It's going to be more about the innovation and creativity and seeing if I can take minimal resources and turning it into something magical. So if you're interested in, and it has to be beautiful, it can't just be a shack. Okay, so if you're interested in something like that, definitely check out my channel. I'll be doing that. Mr. Fiesta 24